Greetings all. The R36S comes from mysterious unknown Chinese makers and is basically a clone of the RGB20S and RG351M or P. It promises a PlayStation 1 level of emulation at a $40 to $50 price point. That's peanuts next to the premium retro handhelds like the two previously mentioned. They usually retail at roughly $80. Of course, the adage, you get what you pay for, immediately comes to mind. But you do occasionally get a deal that hits the sweet spot between affordability and quality. Is the R36S such a deal? I rounded up impressions from YouTube and did some research to get the inside scoop. Inside the shell, you'll find a Rockchip RK3326 quad-core CPU that runs at 1.5 GHz, 1 GB of RAM, and from reports, all units come with a 64 GB SD card filled with games. It rocks a 3.5-inch 480p LCD panel, plus a mono speaker for visuals and sound. The unit comes with an older version of ArcOS, and for connectivity, it claims Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support. But reviewers found you need an external dongle to enable this. I will leave some links in the description below to a video that clearly showed how to update the software via Wi-Fi. There are also links to the dongle and OTG adapter for those of you that want to get hardware that has the best chance of working with the device. Alternatively, you can copy the latest software update directly to a new SD card and install an updated OS that way. This is recommended anyway, as the cards that come with the unit is notoriously bad quality and often fail. The last thing to note is that it comes with a 3200 mAh battery and should deliver decent playtime. Not mind-blowing specs overall, but more than decent chops for the cost. Next, let's look at the design and ergonomics. The vertical form mirrors retro handhelds like the Game Boy Advance. It feels pretty solid and lightweight from the hands-on testing I saw. Reviewers seem to find that the front buttons are on the small side though, and that the D-pad and face buttons are quite stiff. Triggers at the back also require effort to press, but are acceptably ergonomic. From what I have seen, the button experience can however be remedied by disassembling the unit and doing some light modding. Check the description below for a video I found on how to do this. By the way, do you know why the R36S went to comedy school? Because it wanted to learn how to lighten up so its buttons would not be so stiff, and then maybe people would like it more. Just kidding. Getting back to the subject at hand though, the joysticks on this unit recess into the casing, which some may find make them harder to work. But it makes the unit more pocketable, and you can add nubs to raise them up if this bothers you. They are not the best quality though, according to the reports, but are acceptable given the price of the unit. The centralized speaker is a brilliant idea, as you never cover it up when playing the unit like you would with handhelds that have the speaker at the bottom right. Volume control is at the top right with an SD slot below and a second SD slot on the left. At the bottom you have the two USB-C ports, one for charging and one for OTG access. The 3.5-inch headphone jack is between them, so you can plug in some headphones if you want to. Overall, the feeling I got when researching this is that the unit's design is functional and acceptable at this price. Now for the juicy stuff. Performance. The R36S punches above its weight class apparently, handling 8 and 16-bit consoles like a champ. You can dive into thousands of preloaded retro titles thanks to the SD card included with the unit. PlayStation 1 also runs smoothly, with even heavier games like Tekken 3 and Bloody Raw not having a problem. N64 and Dreamcast struggle unfortunately according to the testing, and estimates suggest that only about 50% of the titles will be playable. The same goes for PSP, which will also not be at its best due to the screen not having a 16:9 aspect ratio. Is the R36S a good deal at around $40 then? The unit's build is admittedly not the best available, but the R36S performs surprisingly well for retro gaming on a tight budget, and it nails simpler 2D titles while running PlayStation 1 very nicely. I suspect this will be more than enough for most, and I would not mind owning one of these despite the limitations. It's a nifty starter handheld for casual retro gamers, especially kids or those new to the hobby. Just set proper expectations for what you will be getting and be ready to mod and tinker. If you're interested in getting hold of one of these, there are links in the description below. It is only available on Aliexpress at this price though. If you want to buy from somewhere more familiar, see the links to the device on Amazon, but just be warned, they are more expensive. If you want more quality in terms of materials and controls on a handheld, I would suggest looking at the Anbernic RG35XX Plus or the RG353V, But do note, you will be paying roughly $30 to $60 more for these depending on shipping costs. They will provide better performance though from what I have seen, as they have slightly better processors. You can see my overview on these by clicking on the links on screen now. Well, that covers the basics on this budget clone. Let me know if you have any other retro handheld topics you want covered. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.